includes some strobe lighting.
Welcome to Malta, where we're still searching for the world's strongest man, and this is the Blue Lagoon, home to some of the bluest water in the whole world, and also home once upon a time to the Maltese falcon. But these days, the only Maltese falcon you're going to find is in the cinema, because in the 1980s the real thing was hunted to extinction. Victory in Heat 2 of the Metrex Trophy for Jukka Ahola, the world champion in 1997, and joining him René Minkvits of Denmark, who finished runner-up in that group. Samuelson and Barr there already, who'll join them from Heat 3.
My name is Glenn Ross. This year I won the title of Britain's strongest man, but this event is a different class. Starting with Gerard Badenhorst, he has been one of the top strongmen for years now. He has made the final last year and is favourite to qualify again. Sven Carlsen was a finalist in Las Vegas 2 years ago and was actually leading when he got injured. Definitely a danger to everyone. Janne Virtanen, another dangerous Scandinavian, missing out in the final last year in a tie-break and is desperate to make it through this year. Nick Noga, an American Football Hall of Famer and a pro for 13 years, considered the best athlete ever to graduate from the University of Hawaii. Jana Pananen, another unknown quantity from Sweden, but the Swedes are always tough. And then me, Glenn Ross. As I said, I am Britain's strongest man. I am fitter and stronger than ever, and I hate being beaten.
So just to remind you, there are 6 more men in this heat, 6 events, only 2 of these guys will make it through to the final. As for the fish, I gather they're getting a bit choosy. The secret is you have to tempt them with salt and vinegar crisps, and then you hook them with ham. So while I'm hatching this cunning plan, our 6 strong men are going to be boating, stone hugging, some serious humping, arm stretching, logging, and they finish with the 50-metre individual medley. As ever, we're down at the harbour to get things underway with commentator Paul Dickinson.
Our 6 strong men in this heat. Starting off with Jorma Pannanen of Sweden. He's already seen his friend and teammate Magnus Samuelsson go through. A new name to world's strongest man, Nico Nonga from the United States of America. Sven Carlsen, injured last year but a finalist in 1997. Gerard Badenhorst, Africa's strongest man. Janne Virtanen, feared by many as one of the big men of this year's competition. And Great Britain's strongest man, Glenn Ross from Bangor in County Down.
Is there part of you that thinks you should have been the world's strongest man 2 years ago?
Yeah, it is, of course, but, you know, if you can't go through a whole competition without an injury, you don't. So that's why I have this man here now, to prevent those kinds.
To look after your nipples?
Yeah.
And what about this first event? Is this a good one for you?
I don't know, actually, because this is a brand new one for me.
I'm not sure any of the strongmen know what is in store for them here. All I can tell you is 2 100-kilogram sacks to be carried the length of the course, and it's Glenn Ross on this side. About the weight of a washing machine, and Janne Virtanen, he's off to a flying start. What is it about these Scandinavians? They move so well. Glenn Ross has got a lot of work to do. Ross is certainly the heaviest man here. 180 kilos, that's nearly 400 pounds. But it's Virtanen right in the centre, Sven Karlsson from Norway next to him, and Jorma Pannanen, the Swede, on the far side. But look at this, the Finn is flying. He's ahead of Sven Karlsson. Glenn Ross has got a lot of distance to make up. While none of our strong men in any of the heats so far have managed to finish this course. The total weight of everything at the moment, 350 kilograms, and Glenn Ross is making ground on the leaders. Tremendous performance from Britain's strongest man. He's gaining on Jani Virtanen. And Sven Karlsson's gone down, and so has Gerrit Badenhorst. Glenn Ross in second place at the moment. What a turn up for the books. He's always complained we haven't given him credit when it comes to the endurance events. Oh, that is magnificent for Glenn Ross. A brilliant victory for Jani Virtanen of Finland in the very first event, and valuable points for Glenn Ross. He's absolutely exhausted, and I think this is going to be a real test now for John Inverdale.
Do you speak any English?
No,
Why?
koska mä olin liian laiska koulussa.
He was too lazy at school.
I always catch people. So I'm so underestimated. I think I can't move, I haven't got the cardiovascular, but I'll always come through in the end.
What was your target before that?
I said top 2 this year. I have to get. I'm going to go through this year.
How tight a heat do you think this is going to be?
I think the toughest heat. We got Sven, me, this guy, and Glenn Ross. It's a tight heat.
Did he expect to win that race?
Oletko sä voitella sitä? Yes.
Another penetrating insight into the world of strongmen. So 6 points to the Finn at the start of this heat.
A beautiful afternoon in Valletta Harbour, and an event now that I'm not sure many of the spectators will ever have seen before, the Husafelt Stone. The first man to try it, Jorma Pannanen. He's got to try and carry this 180 kilogram rock as far as possible down the course. It used to weigh 200 kilograms, but it's been dropped so many times it's lost a bit of weight over the years. And this, a traditional strongman event, has its roots in Iceland, where apparently the best carrier of the stone ever was a farmer's daughter. And that was centuries ago. This is now. And the Swede is going well. Jamie Reeves, as ever, just giving him a little bit of support, telling him where to go and when to stop. The turn at 40 meters, oh, he's done well. That was very neatly done. So Jorma Pannanen, past 50 meters. Past 60 meters now, he's still going well. That's 65.34. A tremendous performance by Jorma Pannanen.
And Gerrit Badenhorst certainly couldn't match that. 43.68 for him. Fractionally behind, Nico Noga, 43.48. And better for Glenn Ross, 51.56. He's second with 2 men to go.
Sven Karlsson. We can see just how muscular this guy is. Absolutely rock solid, and he's got to be. Still, Jorma Pannanen of Sweden, 65.34 is the lead. Now, can he get those big arms locked around the stone? Yes, he can. He's carrying it very high on the chest, and in the past we've heard guys say the higher it goes, the better, but it makes things very difficult as far as breathing is concerned. And Jamie Reeves is actually having to run to keep up with him. 40 meters. Looking good. Come on, Sven, they're all shouting. A lot of applause coming from the crowd, heading towards 60 meters now. Still looking comfortable. Oh, he's come to a halt. He still needs a couple of meters. That's Lene, his girlfriend, shouting for the man. Oh, he's got it. It's just beyond Pannanen's distance. It's 66.11. And Sven Karlsson is back.
A good bit of Viking power there.
Yeah. Just hope that is enough now. You never know.
Is that about as far as you can go, or could you have gone all the way?
You never know, not now. Anyway,
Save it for the final. Save the energy for the final.
just hope we make it there now.
Well, there's some way to go before the final 2 men are selected to go through to the final 4 events, to be precise. Jani Virtanen, the last to go in our second event in this heat. He won the first event, and he's got a distinct advantage in going last. He knows exactly what he's got to beat now, and he's very tall, 6 feet 5 inches. He's not the heaviest man in this heat, but he's very agile and very mobile. I think that's the most exercise Jamie Reeves has done for some time. One of only 3 British men to ever win World's Strongest Man, Jeff Capes and Gary Taylor, the other 2. They'll be watching this with interest. But Jani Virtanen is going well. He's beyond 50, heading towards 60, and he's going like a train. Can he win 2 in a row? Yes, he can. He's got it. Only just 67.66. 12 points from 2 events. I'm not sure he knows whether he's won it, but I can tell you he has.
So, Jani, are you going to be the top Finn this year?
Vai kumpi meistä niin kuin... He thinks that it's still my turn, and his turn will be next time.
But is that because you have more around your neck than he does? Is that his?
I think so.
Ask a stupid question. So Virtanen, 6 points there. Carlsen in second place, something of a Scandinavian monopoly. Glenn Ross, though, in second position and eyeing that final at the moment. Well, this is the loading race. 5 items to be picked up and put on the wall over there. This is the lightest. It may seem like an old bag to you, but it weighs the same as your wife and your 2 children, and they all get progressively heavier all the way along until this massive chain that weighs the same as your wife, your kids, your cat, your dog, and everybody who lives next door to you.
And it's Nico Nonga from the United States of America on the right-hand side. A first-timer in World's Strongest Man up against an old-timer, Gerrit Badenhorst of South Africa. The 100-kilogram sack up on the shoulder. The sprint towards the wall, oh, very easy. Nico Nonga, what, a couple of seconds behind already. Now the barrel, 105 kilograms. And Gerrit Badenhorst, well, of all the strong men that are here, he's one of the most experienced the world's ever seen. But look at this, Nico Nonga is catching up. Badenhorst throws the log up there, 110 kilos now for the anchor. It's actually slightly lighter at 105, but it's very, very awkward. Oh, as you can see from that. Now, come on, Gerrit, you need the points. 240 kilograms the chain. This looks as though it could be Nico Nonga's best event yet. And this is so close. Badenhorst just struggling a little bit. There's still a lot of power in those legs, though. He's a former world powerlifting champion, and Badenhorst has won it. He just snuck ahead of Nico Nonga, 61.77 to 64.78 seconds for the American. Those extra points are what Badenhorst needs.
So you might be back in there.
Well, we must first see now. You know, the other guys must still go, but it's hard to say, you know, if it's a good time. I made a few mistakes, but at least everything is on.
Were you looking to beat the time there, or did you actually think it was going to be a question of getting the actual items on the top?
See, it's not very heavy stuff. It's just awkward. And I think the guy who's not going to think what he do will definitely miss out.
It's brain not brawn then?
I think so. This one.
And things still looking good for Badenhorst when it came to the final pairing, because in the intervening period, Paananen could only manage 62 seconds, and Glenn Ross, with a few tactical errors, 74.
And now the final pairing. Sven Carlsen of Norway on the right-hand side. Jani Virtanen of Finland on the left. Ooh. And if there was a false start in World's Strongest Man, that was it. Virtanen just getting away ahead of the Norwegian, but Sven Carlsen already a shade ahead. I think Virtanen will find this quite easy. He's so much taller than Sven Carlsen by about 4 or 5 inches, and this is neck and neck. Virtanen in the lead overall. Sven Karlsson needs good points though. He's in joint third place at the moment with Pannanen of Sweden. And this is very fast. It's so much faster than anything else we've seen so far. They're going to be well inside 1 minute, that's for sure. Virtanen just ahead of Karlsson, or is he? Yes, he is. He's finished 42.05 and 45.84 for Sven Karlsson. Those times were outrageous, and they take first and second place once again.
It almost seems unfair for you to do it that quickly and to come second.
Yeah, I think so. But made a slight mistake there in the end. I was trying to push the train all the way while I was standing there. So I think I lost it from there. But I don't care. 2 men are going to the final. One of them got to be me. Because I can't go home. Because I have no place to go.
Played 3-1-3 for the runaway Finn, but things aren't looking too good for Glenn Ross now, finishing last there, and that means he's back in 5th position, 3 points behind the automatic final placing.
It's not over till it's over. I mean, got 2 static events tomorrow, which is my forte, and the log for reps, which I hold the record at. I hope the bait and the grip I'm not too bad at. So hopefully if I hold that out, get a bit of treatment on this calf, I've still a good chance, because like I'm only 3 points off the lead, and that can be gained in 3 events.
So here we come to a brand new event for World's Strongest Man, the Hercules hold, effectively a crucifix position, and hang on for as long as you possibly can do. And Sven, you're one of the people who's trying to get into the final. Need a bit of Viking power here, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I think I need it, because you never know what to expect from a new event. And I've never done this before, so just do my best. I have a little bit stomach problem today, but luckily for me, it's no running in this event.
How much of this is about putting up with pure, simple pain?
Most of it, actually, I think. Probably going to feel like you're ripping you apart. And I will hold on for as long as possible, but pain doesn't matter. We're born with pain in Norway. It's too cold there in the winter.
Well, the first man we're going to see is Glenn Ross, Britain's strongest man. But Jorma Pannanen of Sweden has already set a time of 24.61. Equal 4th place at the moment. He needs big points in this event. Steady as a rock so far. And as Sven Karlsson was saying, it's the pain you've got to block out of your mind here. You've got to have guts and determination to do this. It's absolutely ripping your hands apart. 170 kilograms is the pull of each pillar on each arm, and it's gone 25.45. Glenn Ross has set the target for everybody. Now then, Nico Nonga of the United States of America.
Are you ready? Bolts out. Take the...
I bet he's never tried anything like this before. An American footballer by trade, and they certainly do shift a lot of weights in their training, that's for sure. They're all very strong men. I bet there's a whole pile of guys in the United States who play American football would like to have a crack at this. But it's Nico Nonga who's flying the flag for the USA at the moment. It's gone! 25.47. Can you believe it? 2/100ths of a second ahead of Glenn Ross. Gerrit Badenhorst, the next to get ready.
Ready? Bolts out. Get the space.
Here we go. And Badenhorst needs good points here. He's on equal 3rd position at the moment with Pannanen, 2 behind Sven Karlsson, but Jani Virtanen, 3 out of 3. The Finn is going for it. Now Badenhorst is a former world record holder in the deadlift. His grip should be solid. Oh, he's gone. The right hand went first, 23.24. I think he's blown it with that performance. Now then, Sven Karlsson next to go. 6 points behind the leader. Can you believe it? Virtanen is absolutely brilliant. But the Norwegian here is a very tough competitor, and still Nico Nonga's time of 25.47 seconds. The lead, the American holds pole position. Oh, he's shaking, and his hands will be burning. The pressure across the shoulders, absolutely incredible. He's gone, 24.20. He's down in 4th place, and there's 1 to go. The last man, Jani Virtanen, and look at those clouds in the background. It's getting darker by the second. Jani Virtanen, 170 kilograms in each hand. Can he make it? 4 wins out of 4. I've never seen that in Strongest Man before. Nico Nonga's time of 25.47. Is it still going to be the best we're going to see here today? He's getting closer. The Finn has done it. That is fantastic. Oh. So easy. Well, thank you very much. He's on the stage, so he's doing a little dance. It looks as though he could have gone on forever. 33.17. Maximum points.
I was aiming for 35 to 40 seconds. That would have been a winning time, so I was disappointed.
But as things have turned out?
As things turned out, it's been okay for me. And got me a 3rd spot there, and hopefully I can hold out and do the business tomorrow.
Well, as the storm clouds gathered, Virtanen through to the final with his 4th straight victory, but all the interest now centres on who's going to make it to the final with him. Any one of 4. And Ross has a real chance. Now, you both know how important this next event is for the two of you, and you're going against each other. Glenn, well, how nervous actually are you?
As nervous as Sven is.
How nervous are you?
I'm very nervous because I spent more time on the toilet this night than I've been in my bed, so this is going to be very hard, I think. You just have to wait and see. I think it's all going to go down with the last event, the medley later today.
It's fair. Well, the best man wins.
Yeah, good luck, Glenn.
Well, I'm sure the atmosphere is going to change on that stage in a few moments' time. They've both got to lift the 110-kilo log as many times as possible, and 4 athletes have done it already. Nico Nonga from the United States of America is in the lead with 9 repetitions. And this is what the crowd have been waiting for. I think Glen Ross really fancies his chances here. And he really does need good points as well. Equal 3rd behind Carlson and Virtanen. 13 points is the same total as Pannanen as well.
Sven Karlsson.
I think in actual fact it would do Glen Ross the power of good if he could win this event, and Carlson was to go way down the list, but I can't see that happening. Carlson is such a gritty competitor. Well, Carlson away the quickest. Glen Ross pretty steady as well. Both men successful with 2 repetitions, and Glen Ross has gone ahead already.
3.
He's got massive arms as Glen Ross, and he's making that log look very light indeed. 17.5 stones above his head with ease. Carlson 5, Glen Ross 5. You need big lungs for this event as well. There's a lot of endurance involved. Go on, Carlson, get it up. 6 all. Glen Ross just easing ahead with 7 now. This is a war of attrition out there. Carlson looking unsteady on his feet. I don't wish to be unkind, but that's very good news for Glen Ross indeed. Glen Ross goes to 9 repetitions, equal 1st place with Nico Nonga of the United States. Come on, Glen, 1 more. He's got it. He's in the lead. But he's got to keep going. He doesn't know what Sven Karlsson has got left. Karlsson looking round for some guidance. He's got 8 repetitions, and Glen Ross has got another one. I don't think Karlsson's got anything left. Glen Ross going for number 12, but I think he's finished. Can he win it? Yes, he can. It's maximum points for Glen Ross, and Sven Karlsson will finish up in equal 3rd place. tremendous performance by Glen Ross, his first victory.
And you knew you were ahead of Sven, didn't you?
Well, sort of did. Sort of did, because British guys here cheering for me just spurred me on, you know, because they were letting me know I was going to be ahead of him, you know. So hopefully now just dig in this medley and just do it for Britain, you know, and Ireland.
Well, he was doing it pretty well there. A first victory for Britain's strongest man. And with Virtanen out of sight, it's now a head-to-head between the Irishman and the Norwegian for the second spot in the final.
Well, I'm sure Sven Karlsson has done his homework. Those 1.5 points represent 2 places ahead of Glen Ross in this final event, the medley. And it really is a killer. Sven Karlsson checking the equipment. Glen Ross striding out. He really does mean business. Badenhorst, well, unfortunately, on his way back to South Africa after this event is over. Janne Virtanen is on the near side. There he is. Hey! Certain to make it through to the final is Virtanen. He's accumulated a massive score. The 300-kilogram tyre. Come on, Glen Ross. He's got to flip it over twice. Sven Karlsson picks up the cannonball. He's on his way. Together with Jorma Pannanen. There's Virtanen. Glen Ross has got a bit of work to do. He's struggling just a wee bit at the moment. Glen Ross gets the Maltese cross-up. Karlsson is away and running. The anchor, which weighs 105 kilos. Glen Ross looks as though he could be out of the final. There's at least 3 places, 4 places difference between Karlsson, and Karlsson drags the chain. Virtanen is catching him up. The Finn could just win it on the line. He does, but Karlsson is through to the final. Glen Ross just failed at the last hurdle. A brilliant performance by Sven Karlsson, a magnificent performance by Janne Virtanen, and poor old Glen Ross, the man from Bangor in County Down. Oh, disappointment for him. A valiant effort, but not enough to beat Karlsson and Virtanen.
I feel sick inside, you know. I said that 6 weeks ago I felt I was in the best shape of my life. The final suited me. I'd even dreamed of the final might have even give me glory, you know, if I got there. But this wacky race here, it was never going to suit a torn calf injury. But I mean, I just give it all I got, really. Best man won here on the day, and that was Sven Karlsson. And I hope he goes on to win the final.
I know in my heart that if I'm back by the full me, I can go for the title. I hope so. And it meant a lot to me, because me and my girlfriend were expecting a child now. So this is a dream come true. And being sick for a year and been competing for over a year, this means a very lot. So no matter how it goes to the final, I'm going to be very happy no matter what.
But what about Virtanen? 6 events and 5 victories in this particular heat. And Karlsson making it through to the final with him. Bitter disappointment for Glen Ross. So 5 Scandinavians and a Scot through to the final of the Metrex Trophy. Well, Janne, tremendous effort, especially in those first few events. You're almost invincible. But never mind your success as far as strongman's concerned. I know you don't speak much English, but, you know, fishing is an international language, and I got so close to this massive fish today.
And those muscles will be flexing for another heat on BBC One at 4:15 on New Year's Day. Next today, a celebrity race to find the best way of getting there. Dream Wheels.
Well, it may not look much, but that could be the rock that won the Second World War. British armed forces used it as target practice from both land and air before launching the successful invasion of North Africa. And if they were the bravest of the brave, here in Malta, we're looking for the strongest of the strong now. In fact, the strongest man in the world. The winner of Heat 3 was Jani Virtanen of Finland. Joining him in the final, Sven Karlsson of Norway. So these are the 6 men into the final of the Met-Trex Trophy, but who'll join them from today's heat, Heat 4?
My name is Lee Bowers. I'm representing Britain in this heat. I got to the final last year, but this time it could be even tougher. First up is Torfi Olafsson, the biggest man in the event, another finalist from last year and definitely a favourite to qualify. Hugo Girard, he's young and he's very strong, beaten out of the final by Jukka Hala last year, but this year rates his chances very highly. Ken Brown, very highly regarded across the Atlantic, lacked experience in 1997, but coming back this year, very confident of qualifying. Hubert Dürer, it's his first time at World's Strongest Man, but in 1998 he was European powerlifting champion and 4th in the world. Regin Vagadal, a finalist in 1996, and he spent the last 3 years specifically training for this event. And then there's me, Lee Bowers. I came a disappointing 5th in Britain's Strongest Man, and I feel it's now time to prove I belong here with the best in the world.
So just to remind you, 6 more events, 6 more athletes, but only 2 of them are going to make it through to the final. The fish update, still no luck, so I've got to disguise. And while I'm being invisible, our 6 strong men are going to be dragging sledges, chopping, trucking, weighing anchor, advanced parking, and at the end, it's a load of chains and anchors and tyres and balls. And here we are at the harbour to kick things off, commentator Paul Dickens.
The very first event, the tough carry and drag on this course down at the harbour. And I suppose if there was a favourite in this heat, it would have to be Torfi Olafsson of Iceland, who's made this final before. But this is Regin Vagadal from the Faroe Islands.
From Austria.
Hubert Dürer from Austria. The very first time we've seen him in World's Strongest Man. Hugo Girard of Canada, this massive policeman. A promising competitor and a real threat to Torfi Olafsson, carrying on Iceland's tremendous tradition in World's Strongest Man. Ken Brown of the United States of America. And finally, Lee Bowers from Colne in Lancashire, representing England.
Ready.
Douglas Edmonds sends them on their way. First of all, this 100-kilogram ball. And Torfi Olafsson struggling a bit. He's in the lead, just ahead of Regin Vagadal. Vagadal gets it down first, sprints back for the next object. Another 100 kilograms of Maltese cross. And Vagadal breaking out into a walk this time. Girard is up there as well. Girard head down, charging towards this sled. Vagadal puts the Maltese cross and it's now fully laden and it weighs about 300 kilos. In a previous program, Jukka Ahola said this was desperate, trying to drag it across the cobbles here on the harbour. Now come on, Lee Bowers, you've got a bit of work to do. Ken Brown, the American, is ahead of him. So is Torfi Olafsson. Girard and Regin Vagadal almost neck and neck. It would be a tremendous feather in his cap if Hugo Girard could win this first event. The clock ticking away, the time limit 75 seconds, and Regin Vagadal has come to a grinding halt. I think Hugo Girard's going to win this one. He's just checking on everybody else. Ken Brown's coming through just a little bit. That is it. Hugo Girard gets 6 points and victory in the carry and drag. Lee Bowers down in 6th place. Very disappointing for the Briton.
You know, first event, I've warmed up now, so as I say, I've got to be positive. It's just the beginning of the competition, you know.
Maybe you could ask to do it again.
Well, I probably would do better, but like I say, your body just has to warm up, it takes time. So.
Okay, just tell us what it is that's so tough about that event.
Well, the carry in itself is not bad, the drag in itself, but when you combine the two carries with the drag, so you're pre-exhausted when you go to pull that heavy sled, that makes a big difference.
So it's not just about brute force, it's about overall physical well-being.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about being athletic. You need the force. That's for sure. You need the strength, but you need the wind to go with it, that kind of event. I could see him all the time, but I didn't hear the time because there was more left for me. But I had an advantage. Then he came, and then the whistle boom. So, bad luck for me.
I'm very pleased because last year I was last in this event, so I must be learning something.
Well, the big man came in 4th in that opening event. First blood, though, to the Canadian, Hugo Girard. Well, everybody's used to strong men pulling trucks, but as we're here in Valletta, we're the most natural deep-sea harbour in the world, the obvious thing to do was to get them to pull a ship. And we have a ship here, and we also have Torfi from Iceland, lots of ships in Iceland, of course. Fancy pulling this?
Stundum strák alveg ríkalega vitlaus, þetta ekki hægt, ég farið.
Okay, you win, no ship. Truck pulling, what's the secret of being good at this? Because you won it last year.
Yes, I won it last year, but I think there's no secret about it. It's a mix of everything, but I think I have the kilos and I have the pounds to pull the truck. So the secret about it is stay low and try to hold the rhythm from the beginning, and always try to put more speed into it, and it goes all the way.
He certainly has got the kilos, 160 of them altogether. Torfi Olofsson, probably the favourite for this event. At first, though, it's Lee Bowers. Only 1 point from the first event, so the man from Lancashire has got to go well here. It's very, very hot here in Malta. He's got the cap on, we can't see his eyes, but his legs are beginning to drive now. Pulling on the arms as well. Lee Bowers weighs about 20 stones. That's about 4.5 stones lighter than Torfi Olofsson. And he's got a good rhythm going here. Being shouted on by the crowd. This is certainly the toughest competition Lee Bowers has ever faced in any strongman competition. He's going to set the pace for all the rest. And that bumper has to go over the finish line. He's going to finish the course, but the crucial thing is the time, 43.16. Good effort. But there's still 5 very strong men to come.
But that seemed as though it was going to be a pretty good time for Lee Bowers, because Dura could only manage 47.9, Brown 45.69, but Bagadel beat his time, 42.06. There are still 2 men to go.
Torfi Olofsson, rather like Joe Onosai in one of the previous programs, well equipped for this event, weighing over 24 stones. Oh, having a bit of a problem with grip there, and he mustn't stand on the rope either. Oh, he's gone again. Well, nobody's complained about the grip on this surface in the harbour. But Torfi Olofsson now beginning to get up ahead of steam. The fastest time so far, 42.06 by the Faroe Islands' Regan Bagadal. And now the man from Iceland making it look so easy. This is going to be a very fast time. Can he get below 40 seconds? It would be remarkable if he could. He's done it. 38.88 seconds, and that is going to take a lot of beating.
You said you wanted to keep low, but you didn't have to fall over.
I stepped on the rope. That's a mistake.
39 seconds is good?
38.
38 seconds.
Well, not quite as heavy as Torfi Olofsson, but as we saw in the first event, very strong, very mobile as well. Hugo Girard, well, he clocks in at 333 pounds body weight, and that's pretty massive. 22.5 stones. 17 tons of truck being dragged down the harbour. The target, 38.88 seconds. 2 victories in a row would be tremendous for Girard. Well, if he doesn't win this year's World's Strongest Man competition, a lot of people wouldn't be surprised, but he's certainly a name to watch out for in the future. Canada's strongest man, driving forward. Is he going to be close to Torfi Olofsson's time? It's just outside. He could go into second place, though. He certainly has. 40.41. Another tremendous performance by the Canadian.
Just for a moment, I thought you might come second in that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a difficulty with going first. The truck does tend to run a little smoother as the competition goes along. I had hoped for, obviously, not to end up in fourth place, but obviously it's a little bit of an improvement on the first event, and I've got some good events to come, so I'll keep on fighting.
Well, after a promising start, it rather trailed away there for Lee Bowers, just the 3 points for him in that second event, and that means he's back in fifth as Girard, Vagadal and Olofsson go head-to-head at the top. Tell me, in the Faroe Islands, are there many people who do strong men?
One.
You?
Everybody knows me. That's
Really?
True, yeah. I'm getting stopped on the street and everywhere and autograph all the time. And it's only 45,000 people, so.
If you get to the final, what sort of reaction would there be in the Faroe Islands?
They make the main news and that stuff. So. Probably we make the main news after this one, because I'm sure going to be second, maybe first over this year.
Well, good luck, and
Thanks.
let's hope you're on the news bulletins. And so down to the seaside, the lovely Golden Bay, the loading race, everything heavy, awkward, and you've got to stick it all on that wall.
Regan Vagadal and Lee Bowers to go next, although Ken Brown and Hubert Durer of Austria have already taken their attempts, and Brown leads at the moment. He loaded all 5 objects in 64 seconds.
Timekeepers, ready!
Well, believe me, Regan Vagadal is a big star in the Faroe Islands, and he goes off like a rocket. Lee Bowers as well, that 100-kilogram sack on the highest part of the wall. 64 seconds is the target for both men. Now the barrel at 105 kilos. Regan Vagadal is very deceptive. He weighs about 20.5 stones. Lee Bowers, he's another 20 stoner, just under 6 feet tall, and that giant log, oh, it's a bit awkward. 110 kilos, and Lee Bowers just moves ahead. He glances across at Regan Vagadal. Oh, don't drop that 105-kilogram anchor on your foot, son. It's going to hurt like crazy. A little bit of thought needs to be put into that, and Vagadal has moved ahead. The clock is ticking away. Vagadal, he's got to get the whole chain. Every one of those 240 kilograms onto the platform. A chance perhaps for Lee Bowers to catch up. It's going to be very close, but Ken Brown in the United States is still in the lead. And Vagadal just beats Lee Bowers. Lee Bowers, that final part on there, just outside 64 seconds. So perhaps disappointing for Lee Bowers. He does need big points here. Torfi Olofsson heads down towards the wall along with Hugo Girard. Referee Dougie Edmonds, the inventor, I suppose you could say, of many of these events. Refereeing here as always.
Timekeepers, ready!
The 2 biggest men in the heat now go for it. 64 seconds for all 5. Hugo Girard threw that sack up on his shoulder. That was fantastic. That was almost making it look as light as a basketball. And so does the barrel as well. That weighs about 16 stones. Torfi Olofsson is behind. That's the way to do it. Now, what are they going to do with the anchor? That's caused problems to everybody else so far. Oh, it proves a problem for the Canadian. It's on safely, and Olofsson, if anything, is catching him up. 240 kilos, over 500 pounds. They've still got 20 seconds to beat Ken Brown, and surely both of them will beat the American. Girard has won it. That is a brilliant performance, his second victory, and Torfi Olofsson in second place. Beginning to develop as the two favourites to go through to the final.
That was a good race, that, Torfi, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was surprised how good how fast I was.
Yeah?
For a fast guy.
What about the events coming up? Are they good ones for you or bad ones for you?
I don't think there is a good or bad event. Every event you got to give your best, and you just hope your best is good enough.
You were like Maurice Green, you know, the world sprinting champion running across there. Is this a new fitness regime?
It seems to be working.
So you feel like a new man?
Yeah, and look at him breathing. I have 50 kilo more than him. Look at me. I'm like a child compared to him.
He's fit.
Fit enough. Second place behind Girard for Olofsson. 4 men managing to lift all 5 objects. And the Canadian leads now 3 points clear of the Icelander. Vagadal back in 3rd place. Well now, for the first time ever in World's Strongest Man, an exercise that we can all do at home. This axe weighs the same as a case of 24 cans of beer, and we can all lift one of them up. The problem comes in that you have to fully extend your arm and hold it there for as long as it's humanly possible. And then there's a second one. You try it.
Ken Brown has done pretty well in this competition so far. He's accumulated 10 points. He's down in 4th place.
Ready.
If anybody is equipped to do well in this event, I suspect it might be the American. He's got massive shoulders and arms. Trying to block out everything except concentrating on keeping those 12.5 kilo axes at arm's length, and he's got to keep the arms straight as well, otherwise he'll get disqualified. They're locked onto little bits of wood up there which are connected to buzzers, so the referee, well, all he's got to listen out for is a sound, and that means the contest is over. But Ken Brown is over 30 seconds. He's going well. He's struggling just a little bit. The right arm, then the left. He's just checking. Come on now, keep it going. Heading towards 50 seconds. Oh, fantastic effort. Ken Brown 51.19, and believe me, that is going to be very hard to beat indeed. Tremendous effort by the American champion.
Well, it was purgatory for Lee Bowers. 40.4 was his time. It was tough for Dora. 44.09 for him. A bit easier for Vagadal, though you wouldn't know it from that face. 47.81. And much harder than he thought for Torfi Olofsson, 40.47.
Hugo Girard, the last competitor. And still Ken Brown, the American, holding the lead at 51.19. Nobody's come close. Regan Vagadal, 4 seconds behind in 2nd place at 47.81. Lee Bowers once again a little bit disappointing, just scraping over the 40-second mark. Well, at the moment, Hugo Girard looking absolutely rock solid, just checking both sides. 58 inches around the chest, 23.5 inches around his biceps, and that is bigger than most people's legs. Well, he's certainly put his stamp of authority on this competition already, leading by 3 points overall before this event, ahead of Torfi Olofsson, who didn't have a particularly good time in this contest. He's ahead, he's gone ahead of Ken Brown, and he's still going. Struggling, we thought, but it's a good performance. His left arm is dropping a little bit. And he's won, he's over 60 seconds. And surely now he can begin to look forward to a place in the final. Oh yes, I think he enjoyed that, if that's at all possible. Absolutely phenomenal by the Canadian.
And how did the last 10 or 15 seconds feel?
Like an hour.
A good result for Girard, a bad result for Lee Bowers, and sneaking up on the rails now, Ken Brown. How do you view the group now?
It's tight. It's still a fight for first, and I feel like I got as good a shot as anybody.
The last 10 seconds there, your face was a picture. Just describe what you were going through.
I was fighting for everything I had. Just yelling and fighting and shaking and whatever it took.
Well, first place might be beyond him, but it's between Olofsson, Vagardal and Brown now to actually make it through to the final as well. Well, the next event is a very familiar one. It's the deadlift hold. You have to hold the car up for as long as is humanly possible. And how about this for a front row with a 25-stone hooker? And these three guys are going for one place in the final. And Ken, you've almost come back from the dead, 9 points in the last two events. So how are you feeling about this one?
I feel like it'll be a pretty good event for me. Just going to give it all I got and see what happens.
And of course, these two big guys are going against each other. And of course, Iceland and the Faroe Islands are not great friends, Torfi, are they?
Give us a kiss.
From Faroe Islands, Regan Vagardal.
And so it's head-to-head in the deadlift hold. 3/4 of a ton of car on each side of the platform. Olofsson up against Regan Vagardal, the Faroe Islands' most famous export over the last few years, on 16 points each at this stage in the competition, so it's all to go for. Well, both men just a little bit unsteady as the clock starts, but now looking rock solid. Lee Bowers has already taken his effort. It was a very good one too, 71 seconds. And that is what Olofsson and Vagardal have got to beat. Look at Olofsson. He's trying to stare at Vagardal. Vagardal is having nothing of it, just staring at the ground. You can't believe how composed they both look. The weight of that car bearing down on their shoulders and their back. And the grip is going to hurt like crazy. Well, that's some rear view. If you saw those two guys coming towards you in a car, I'd get out of the way. But Olofsson on the right-hand side. 25.5, 26 stones. And he's moving well in this competition. He's moving through to a possible place in the final. But one thing's for sure, he's going to have to beat Regan Vagardal. And to beat him here would do his chances of making the final. Once again, the power of good, but Olofsson is struggling just a little bit. They've gone past Lee Bowers. Both of them are in the lead, but which one is going to take pole position? Vagardal's gone. 79.97 and Olofsson over 80 seconds. 2 men to go. And Olofsson obviously in pain, but Iceland are in the lead. Vagardal perhaps suggesting it was his grip that went.
My grip.
It certainly was, and that means Olofsson has got a big advantage going into the last event. The last 2 men to go up onto the platform and try and keep these cars aloft. Hugo Girard on the right-hand side, and Ken Brown, in terms of stature, well, very much smaller. But what a surprise package he's been, looking for a place in the final. Before this event, Brown 1 point behind Vagardal and Olofsson, so he must beat both of them to have a chance. You can't leave it until the last event to make a rush for that place in the final. Girard looking rock solid. Another big test coming his way, but so far, so good. 81 seconds, the target for both fellas, and especially for Ken Brown. Girard has got a big points advantage at the moment, 7 points ahead of his closest rivals. Ken Brown has got a massive background of deadlifting and squatting and bench pressing. Incredibly strong in the gymnasium, but how strong is he here? Over a minute. The pain is excruciating. He's beginning to bend at the waist just a little. Girard is keeping it going. He's keeping his composure. Oh, he's gone. Ken Brown has not beaten Olofsson, and that could be significant. Girard has gone into the lead. Another 6 points for the Canadian. And another bit of showboating. What was the time, he says to the official. He knows now he's won it, and surely he's into the final as well.
Well, Girard can maybe take his foot off the throttle now, but for Olofsson, Vagardal and Brown, it's going to go down to the wire. Just 3 points between them. As for Lee Bowers, well, he's just competing for pride now.
The familiar sight for the final event. In these heats of World's Strongest Man, the harbour, the sun is setting over Valletta. And the sun is setting over the chances of 4 of these guys to make it through to the final. Hugo Girard in the lead comfortably, but the big battle is between Torfi Olofsson, second from the right-hand side, and the man just inside him, Regan Vagardal. 300 kilograms of tyre, flipped twice. Torfi Olofsson and Hugo Girard going well. Vagardal's got some catching up to do. Essentially, all that Torfi Olofsson has to do is to stay ahead of Regan Vagardal to make it through to the final once again and continue Iceland's challenge for the title. Now comes the anchor. Oh, Olofsson's gone down, and that gives a chance for Regan Vagardal to come through. Could we see a dramatic finish here? It's all down to who can pull the chain the fastest. And can Vagardal... Oh, Vagardal's dropped the chain. He's given up. And that means Olofsson will make it through to the final. Girard and Olofsson go across the line together. What on earth happened to Regan Vagardal? He's absolutely disgusted. Lee Bowers can't finish. Hubert Dürer finishes now. It won't make any difference to the result, though. Tremendous for Olofsson and Girard.
It was very easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
No, it was pretty tough. Especially when you have a favorite salad on each side and try to look both sides at the same time. It was very difficult.
So you fell over?
Yeah.
But you're obviously pretty relieved to have got to the final.
Oh yeah. Now the fun starting.
And your form, you're in tremendous form, aren't you?
Not bad. Not bad.
Good enough for second place, Girard there behind Olofsson. And they are the two who make it through to the final. The Canadian had a 7-point cushion over the rest of the field. And now we know who 8 of the finalists for this year's Metrex trophy are going to be. Just 2 more to find. Well, Hugo, fantastic to get to the final. Well done. Obviously, a vast improvement on last year. You must have been particularly pleased with your performance at the Crucifix. But I wonder if you've got a few moments to talk about fishing, because I had an amazing day today. I got that close to catching the snake. It was huge.
Heat 5 of the World's Strongest Man is tomorrow afternoon at the earlier time of 2:40 here on BBC One. John Inverdale.